In the corner of an old attic, tucked beneath a box of dusty photo albums and a forgotten teddy bear, lay a patchwork blanket named Mimi. She wasn't just any blanket. Oh no, Mimi had squares made from old clothes, soft flannels, and bits of lace. One square was from a yellow dress with daisies, another from a red scarf that smelled faintly of cinnamon. There was even a square from a baby onesie with tiny ducks. Every patch told a story, and every thread held a secret. Long ago, Mimi belonged to a little girl named Annie. Annie's grandmother had sewn the blanket by hand before Annie was even born, whispering wishes into each stitch. "She'll be brave," the grandmother said as she sewed. "She'll laugh loud and love deeply," she whispered while knotting the corners. "And whenever she feels sad, this blanket will remember everything for her." And oh, how Mimi remembered. She remembered when baby Annie was brought home from the hospital, wrapped in her soft folds. She remembered catching Annie's tears after a tumble in the garden. She remembered hiding under the covers during thunderstorms and being wrapped tightly during bedtime stories about dragons, queens, and stars that never went out. Mimi had been there for it all, giggles, sniffles, secrets whispered in the dark. But children grow, and one day Annie didn't need Mimi as much. First, she dragged Mimi behind her like a cape. Then Mimi stayed folded at the end of the bed. Eventually, Mimi was placed in a closet, later into a box. And finally, she was carried to the attic, where the air was dry, and the light only came in narrow slants through the dusty windows. Years passed, seasons changed. Footsteps echoed now and then, but no one came for Mimi. She lay still and quiet, wondering, will I ever be loved again? Then, one spring morning, something changed. The attic door creaked open. Footsteps climbed up the stairs. A soft voice called out, "Let's see what's up here." Mimi didn't dare hope until the box above her was moved and a pair of gentle hands lifted her from the shadows. "Is this?" the voice whispered. It was Annie, but not the little girl Mimi remembered. Annie was grown now. Her hair was longer, her eyes softer, and in her arms was a tiny baby wrapped in a plain white cloth. She ran her fingers across Mimi's faded squares. "I thought you were lost," she said, smiling with tears in her eyes. "I used to tell you everything." Mimi nearly burst with joy. Annie sat down on the attic floor and spread Mimi across her lap. One by one, she traced each patch. "This square was from my first birthday dress," she said. "And this one, when I had the flu and didn't leave the couch for days. Oh, and this is where I spilled juice during story time and cried because I thought you'd never forgive me." The baby cooed, and Annie looked down lovingly. "You know," she said softly, "I used to believe this blanket could hear me and that it kept my secrets safe." Then she did something Mimi hadn't felt in years. She wrapped the baby in her patchwork folds. Warmth spread through every stitch. The old blanket glowed, not with newness, but with something better: purpose. Mimi felt the baby's tiny hands press into her threads. She felt a heartbeat against her fabric. She heard the soft sounds of dreams just beginning. And just like that, Mimi belonged again. The attic was quiet once more, but this time Mimi didn't stay behind. She was carried downstairs, washed gently, and dried in the sun. She was folded beside the crib. And every night, Annie wrapped her baby in Mimi's memories as lullabies floated softly into the dark. Mimi had let go of the little girl she once kept warm, but in return she had found someone new to love, and somehow, through it all, nothing was truly lost.